Good evening. Thank you for joining us this evening at tonight's Village of Alsip board meeting. Today's July 2nd, 2018. We'll call this meeting to order at 7:47. You call the roll, please.
Sure. Trustee McGreal is absent. Trustee Dalzell.
Here.
Trustee Pierce.
Here.
Trustee Zielinski.
Here.
Trustee Juarez. Here. Trustee McLaughlin.
Here.
Mayor Ryan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, officers' reports, starting with myself. Number one on your agenda is a request for approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 13, Miscellaneous Provisions and Offenses, Article 3, Vegetation Control of the Municipal Code of the Village of Alsip. Everyone's got copies of that ordinance in your packets. The second was a request for approval of a notice of public nuisance pursuant to Section 13-50 of the Village of Alsip Municipal Code. Again, I did include that in everyone's packet for review. Number three was a presentation of the Director of Emergency Preparedness report. Chuck, do you have a short report you're going to share with us real quick?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See if I'm on. Is this on?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I thought it'd be best to just for the record read the report. Sort of speaks for itself, so that's how I'm going to approach this. And if anybody has any questions immediately thereafter or at the end of the meeting, I can certainly ask. Okay, it was written to the Mayor, Board of Trustees, and the Village Clerk, the Department of Emergency Preparedness briefing. Under local, state, and federal agencies, I want to bring to your attention my number one priority is to make sure that we're in compliance and good standing with all local, state, and federal regulations in relation to emergency preparedness and village grants. I have an excellent relationship with and am in contact with representatives from the Cook County Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management on a regular basis. The most pressing matter right now is providing an annual report updating our village Cook County multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. The plan was established in 2014. As part of the plan, an annual report must be completed. The requests and instructions have been emailed recently, along with other pertinent emails from the regional planner for Cook County Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management. The deadline is July 31st, 2018, so that's in process. Under emergency operations planning, you may remember I brought to the village board's attention the importance of creating a new comprehensive emergency operations plan for the village. Since then, a lot of work has been completed that ties directly into the EOP plan, including the establishment of FEMA's Community Emergency Response Team, the CERT program, which you're aware of. Implementing this highly respected program as recommended by the federal government demonstrates our commitment to emergency management because CERT volunteers are trained to respond safely, responsibly, and effectively to emergency situations, and they can also support their communities during non-emergency events as well. Through CERT, the capabilities to prepare for, respond to, and recover from disasters is built and enhanced. There are over 2,700 local CERT programs nationwide with more than 600 individuals trained since CERT became a national program. The Village of Alsip also ties into the emergency operations planning. We added Western Illinois University's list of professional internship sites. They listed the Village of Alsip to their list. Western Illinois is the only four-year degree program in the field of emergency management in the state of Illinois. Under my direction, the intern's primary responsibilities will be to work on the EOP and other types of plans. As understood and discussed with the Cook County Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, the establishment of EOP for the village will take considerable time and effort. The Cook County Homeland Security is well aware of the progress made by the Alsip DEP and is very supportive of our efforts. Moving forward, all documentation pertaining to the emergency operation plan, including drafts, revisions, training to validate the EOP, and final submittal will be reviewed by and approved by the Cook County Department of Homeland Security. As I stated earlier, I'm in continual contact with the Cook County Department of Homeland Security. There's no reason to be concerned in relation to grants, emergency preparedness, or compliance with local, state, and federal regulations. Under documentation specifically needed for grants compliance, just so that you know, that would be the hazard mitigation plan that I just referred to, which is in process, and the proof of annual NIMS compliance. You may remember I sent out that information a while ago and actually got some NIMS information from some of the trustees. So that the whole idea with NIMS compliance is to make sure that we're heading in that direction and that the annual report is completed. And that was completed on July 12th of last year, so we're compliant until the beginning of 2019. Under Alsip CERT class graduation, I'm happy to report that the very first class of 27 members, Alsip CERT class number 1, completed their final disaster scenario and graduated on Saturday, June 23rd. This outstanding group consisted of village and non-village residents, village employees, and members that work at the Alsip Marina Park Library, Worth Township, and Southwest Special Recreation Association. The CERT volunteers of all ages, 18 and above, came from all walks of life, and every person brought their own unique talents, abilities, and dedication to serve as community emergency response team members. In accordance with the Village of Alsip CERT SOGs, standard operating guidelines, the members will continue to be involved by attending periodic monthly training, participating on committees, and assisting village departments when officially requested. Note here under Fun Fest assistance, I think you may be a little bit aware of that. I understand it was mentioned last week. I'm proud to say that even before their official graduation, the Community Emergency Response Team demonstrated their commitment to assisting the community. At the annual Fun Fest on Saturday, June 16th, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., they supported the Police Department and Park District by providing manpower for the Costner Street closures at 119th Street and 119th Place. I really thank them for that. That was that 105-degree day outside. And lastly, just a special thanks to everyone for their help and support for the record of the CERT program. The Mayor, Board of Trustees, and the Village Clerk for their help and support. Becky Smith, the Administrative Assistant, for promoting the program on Facebook and the Village newsletter. Jennifer Cutsaw from Alsip Marina Park Library for assisting with the press release and advertising. Joe Kankar, the Village Attorney, who reviewed all documents and waivers. The Alsip Police Department, Chief Miller, Administrative Assistant Debbie Dozell, and the staff for processing background checks. Dan Martin from New Lenox for his assistance establishing the CERT program. Abby Dam from Western Illinois University and the Illinois Terrorism Task Force for helping to establish the CERT program. Kimberly Haywood from the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Department of Homeland Security for establishing the CERT program. Alsip Marina Park Library and the Director Sarah Continero for hosting the classes. Reliable Fire Equipment for hosting the fire safety class. Craig Waltney from District 126, the Superintendent, and also Prairie Junior High School for hosting the final scenario, the lunch and the graduation ceremony. Michelle Higgins, the Superintendent Secretary, for her help in marketing. Joanne Potzik, the Building and Grounds Director at Prairie Junior, for helping to coordinate the final day's activities. Tim Griffin from Bedford Park Fire Department, and also the coordinator of the Venture Crew and Club Victims for his help. The Bedford Park Venture Crew 2035, that's the adult volunteer victims, tied in with the Boy and Girl Scouts for their assistance, and Club 2035, the youth victims that we had out there the day of the scenario. Brian Massari and Scott Nearing for their under technical services for advertising and help with the identification cards. Dan Triben, Water Commissioner, for providing the overhead map for the disaster scenario. Erica Sutter from the printing press for reviewing documents and assisting with formatting. Jerry Watts from New Lenox CERT and Tinley Park EMA, his help with communications. And then CERT members Linda Wood and Nympha Malicio for notarizing the IEMA oath documents. They had to go through an oath, raise their right hand, and go through the oath just like police and fire would. Kathy Geraci for obtaining food donations and coordinating breakfast and lunch. And special thanks to the following instructors that assisted with the CERT program. Amy Molina from New Lenox CERT and Berwyn Police Department and Emergency Management Agency. Scott Freed from the Alsip Fire Department. Patty Adjett from New Lenox CERT. Kyle Coleman from Reliable Fire Equipment. John Opolka from New Lenox CERT. Joe Barron from Payless Fire Protection District, and Dan Martin from New Lenox. He's the CERT coordinator there. And last but not least, thanks to our businesses in town for their donations for the luncheon. That was the final scenario in graduation. McDonald's donated breakfast sandwiches for our volunteer victims that were out there for the entire scenario. Jimmy John's for their sandwich platter for lunch, and Dunkin' Donuts for donating the breakfast also for our volunteer victims that day. We had probably 20 volunteer victims out there that got moolaged up with the fake injuries and those type of things, and that's kind of the thing that they do. They're sort of noted for that, and that was a huge blessing to be able to get their assistance. So that's the report. As you notice, it wasn't just about CERT. I wanted to give you kind of an update on some of those other important areas as well to keep you informed. And the Mayor and I had a discussion a week and a half or so ago, and came up with the idea to be a good idea right now, since the CERT class just ended, be a good time to sort of give the report. And I'll be here in case anyone has any questions, unless you have any question right now. That's
Chuck, with the follow-up to the program, what are you going to start doing, meeting once a month with your group?
That's the plan. That's how the CERT works, is once a month. I still have that work to do there's database work, there's committees that you get them established to, there's work that needs to be done with it, even though the next CERT course, by the way, recruiting will start again in around January, end of January, and then I'm required by the federal government to have that course annually. So next May, the first 7 Wednesdays in May, followed by that Saturday scenario, the same thing will happen. So yes, very good question, Mayor. The monthly training, well, we've got August 1st with live fire training at the reliable fire extinguisher again, and then I'm going to need to put in place some monthly training.
Now, I saw in your report, too, and one of the trustees reminded me recently, too, was are we working, like you got on here for an emergency preparedness plan, are we working for compliance with FEMA right now?
The emergency operations plan that I just referred to?
Right.
Yes, that, as I mentioned on the report, I'm in contact with them on a regular basis. Coincidentally, I was at an emergency operations plan review development course today, coincidentally, in Des Plaines, as part of the Illinois Professional Emergency Management certification that I'm on the cusp of getting, and I'm in contact with Homeland Security Cook County, and their main office there is in that 6th floor building there at 159th Street.
Right.
So I'm all over that. So one of my things that I wanted to let the board know is the concern as far as grants is more that mitigation plan and that NIMS. Okay, they're not pressing us on the emergency operations plan. That can take, depending upon the size of communities, that can take quite a length of time. And it's not like the plans that I did years ago, even when I was chief. The ball game's changed. With when I took over this position, they said whatever you had in the past, you dispose of it, and I didn't really even have something to reference. And there's a lot of different hurdles and things that you go through with regards to that. And so there's no, to ease your mind if you had any concerns about that, we're doing what's needed to be done, and from the standpoint of legalities and from the standpoint of grants.
Well, I think it's great you're able to put together a great group, and I reiterated that to the board and the audience last week. But most importantly is I want to be FEMA compliant. So I mean,
and that's why I headed up before I even talked about CERT. That's why, and you can look that over later as well. That's why I gave everybody a copy of it. I wanted to address that right up front so that there was, to ease your minds and let you know there's no concern. When I took the position a couple Christmases ago, that was at the top of my list and still is, and then I found out along the way that there's a few other things that needed to be done, as well. Tom will tell you in 2014 they established that mitigation plan, and that ties into grants as well as the NIMS compliancy. If we didn't have that, we'd be in trouble with regards. And now it's a simple process of updating. But next year they're going to revamp it. Are you aware of this, Chief? Every 5 years they need to redo it, and that's when there's going to be the heavy lifting. And Chief and I will get together, and then again, Cook County Homeland Security will be assisting all of the jurisdictions with that, like they did in 2014. So that's,
Okay. Well-
but there's a deadline for that right now, which is not a problem at all, because it's a simple update right now. I need to have a quick discussion with some of the department heads that the 8 highlighted points that we're working on, that was established in 2014, sort of find out, like the chief did in 2016, as to where we're at, if there's been any changes, and simply update them.
So, one more
Come
time,
on.
Chief, when do you think we'll be FEMA compliant?
We're
Right now, we are? If we were to file a claim for any reason, we're compliant with
We're
that?
compliant, we're compliant with that mitigation plan, and with the NIMS compliancy that I took care of that last year. We're good through 2019. There had been some years that we missed. It was brought to my attention at a conference from Cook County Homeland Security, and I ended up, we was a little bit spattered, as to when we did it. 1 year we did it, 1 year we didn't. I took care of that last year, so now we're compliant with that. But we should be moving forward. We're trying to get that NIMS training, even the board and the fire department, police department, staying out with the new people in that, and we need to continue to move in that direction.
I'm not questioning it, Chuck, but all I'm saying is, I would like some sort of confirmation in my office then to say then that we're compliant. Can we get that?
Mayor?
For grant purposes.
For grant purposes, we're compliant.
What a reimbursement.
That's for the NIMS.
I'm just saying, I don't have any documentation to say that we are. If for any reason, I hope you're here tomorrow.
They don't really, the documentation is that mitigation plan that we have on
Okay,
file.
so it's
that I
all
can
been
give you.
filed and
Mayor.
everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I inject real quick?
Yeah.
About 2 years ago, you were a trustee at the time, I don't know if you remember, we did this through MABUS, was an addendum that we had to put in place. That is so that we can get our reimbursement if we have to file a claim.
Okay.
So we are current with that.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's all I want to make sure.
Yes,
guys.
you're referring to mitigation plan again.
Okay.
No, the addendum.
Oh, the addendum,
There's an
too.
addendum
Yeah,
too.
that as well.
Right.
But the mitigation plan that's on file, and then the meeting that deadline by the end of July, and then NIMS compliancy, I can give you a copy of that to show that but I'm letting you know, we're compliant until 2019.
Thank you. If you can file with the clerk's office, and I think that's great. I just want to make sure we got something documented.
The hazard mitigation plan is through Cook County. The addendum that we did through MABUS is for the statewide, so we're covered on both sides.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck.
Okay.
Any questions? I'm sorry, trustees. Any questions for
No,
Chuck?
thank you. No.
Okay. Thank you very much, Chuck. Nice job, too. Next on the agenda, and number 4, I had the approval to promote firefighter paramedic Reka Bedoni to the rank of lieutenant per contract that the fire department does have 6 active lieutenants. And again, Chief, she's first on the promotional list, correct?
Correct, yeah. Lieutenant Miller was the first one. We promoted him about 2 years ago, so Reka's the next one on the list. She's the next one up on there.
Okay.
We're looking at swearing her in on the 16th.
Okay, thank you. Clerk's report, Clerk Putzel?
No report, Mayor Ryan.
I just have a question on that.
I'm sorry, on my report.
We're going back to number 4 on the mayor's report.
Sure, go ahead.
How can we do the promotion before the swearing in?
We're approving that the promotion will go through when she gets sworn in on the 16th, when she officially becomes a lieutenant. I want to make sure there's enough time for her to be able to get her dress uniform all ready to go. That's the reason why I wanted to approve it first. So it's just the motion is to approve that she will be promoted, and then the 16th is her swearing in when she becomes officially a lieutenant.
The attorney's report, we have Mike Hankar with us this evening.
No report.
Thank you. Engineers report, Will?
No report this week.
Well, you could have called that one in, maybe, I'm teasing. Public forum, anyone from the audience wish to address the board this evening? Nobody? Thank you. Can I get the standing committee reports? Finance Committee, Trustee McGlohan?
I have a request for approval of a list of payroll dated June 22nd, 2018, totaling $383,759.07. I also have a request for approval of accounts payable dated July 2nd, 2018. From the recap, General Fund, $306,313.70. Road and Bridge, $14,947.29. MFT, $3,886.52. Pulaski Road Corridor Tip, $5,169.10. Water and Sewer, $105,556.18. And Heritage 2, $18,839.16, for a grand total of all funds of $454,711.95. And that's all I have under finance.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. Can I get the fire report, Trustee McGlover?
Sure. I have a request to purchase the ESO brand reporting software for patient care reports and statistical reporting to meet the requirements of NEMSIS 3 by the Illinois Department of Public Health at a cost of $12,490. I also have a request to purchase 4 Keltron radio boxes at a cost of $5,564. And for the board's information, this is to satisfy immediate needs. I also have a request for approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip authorizing the donation of surplus personal property to the Village of Dalton. And that's all I have.
All right. Chief, I did send the Dalton mayor a note. Unfortunately, his mother passed away a few days ago, so he's out of the office. Just to remind him, we were putting this on the agenda because they did express interest, knowing that
Right.
they might have to replace the engine in that vehicle.
Okay. Sounds good. If not, we'll just dispose of it like we normally do, so it's in their cart right now.
Yeah, his assistant sent me a note back, said certainly she'll speak to the mayor when he gets back in the office this week, and I'll know something later in the week when I'll talk to you about what to do.
All right, sounds
All right.
good.
The police report, trustee, committee? Police committee?
Apparently no report, Mayor.
Okay. The public work and boat launch committee, trustee Juarez?
No report, Mayor.
The building committee, trustee Zelinski?
Yes, Mayor, we have a request for approval for a block party with DJ to take place on 117th and Trip on Saturday, August 25th, 2018, from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. And I just recently got 3 more. We have another one on 3642 Bank Drive. It's from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and there's no DJ there or live music. Also, we have one on 4352 West 118th Street. That's from 8 a.m. until midnight, and they will have a DJ there, and he'll have to stop by 10 p.m.
I'm sorry, what was the second address that you gave me? I'm writing these down.
It was 4352 West 118th Street,
Okay.
and the last one is 11554 Colmar, and that's from 12 noon to 10 p.m., and there is no DJ at that one either.
11542 Colmar?
11554.
54. Okay, so obviously in the interest of time here, you're asking to approve all 3 of these, right?
Yes. at this
4, I'm
time.
sorry.
All 4, correct.
So I got 3642 Bank from 11 till 11. I'm sorry, the very first one you read off, 117th and Trip from 11 till 7, then 3642 Bank from 11 till 11, 4352 West 118th Street. And what time is that one?
That's from 8 a.m. to 12 midnight,
Wow,
and a DJ stopping at 10 p.m.
okay. And then 11554 Colmar, what was the time on that?
From 12 noon to 10 p.m. with no live music or DJ.
Before we approve this, obviously, Building Commissioner, Mr. Early, are these times okay? I don't have the ordinance book in front of me, but 11 to 11?
It was okay by police and fire and the building department.
Okay. So everyone approved these?
All 4 of them that are up, we've been the same thing in the past. They've been really good and very quiet compared
Okay.
to some of the other ones, yeah. They're all within their time frames.
Okay, thank you, guys. Anything else, trustee?
No, that's all for this evening.
Okay. Thank you very much. The water and sewer report, trustee Dalzell?
Recommendation to award the Pulaski Road water main replacement to the low bidder, Aries Inc., in the amount of $550,729.00. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you. The license committee, trustee Juarez?
I have a request for approval of a list of licenses dated June 8th through the 22nd, 2018. That's all, Mayor.
All right, thanks. The Economic Development Committee, Trustee Pierce?
No report, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Planning and Zoning, Trustee Zelinski.
I have no report, but I do have, for informational purposes, 2 things came into my mailbox today, and there will be 2 planning and zoning meetings coming up. I believe one's on Wednesday, July 11th, and I wasn't able to get the other date, but it'll be coming up either for approval or disapproval later on.
Yeah, I know, usually it's like the second and last Wednesdays of the month, isn't it, when they have their meetings? Okay,
I don't know.
that's right, it'll be posted.
It's
anyway,
whenever they
so-
can all get together.
Right. I know, I believe the first one, the one on the 11th, Trustee, is that for the 11901 Cicero?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay,
That's to change zoning from B2 business to I1 industrial light.
okay, thank you very much. Special Committee Reports, Village Properties, Trustee McGlowan?
I have no report, Mayor.
All right. And then, the Insurance Committee?
No report.
No report. Ordinance and Legislation Committee, Trustee Pierce?
Request to have simplified municipal telecommunication tax increased by 3%, compliant with Illinois Department of Revenue Telecommunications Tax Act 35 ILCS 636/5-1. That's all, Mayor.
All right, thank you. How about the IT report, Trustee Dalzell?
No report, Mayor.
And the Human Resource Report, Committee?
No report.
Health and Pollution Committee, Trustee Pierce?
No report, Mayor.
And Traffic Safety, Trustee Dalzell?
No report, Mayor.
Just
All
a
right.
quick question under traffic safety, Trustee Dalzell. Have we heard any more in terms of 115th and Cicero? And the
Or-
cameras?
Red light
Cancel?
cameras.
Yeah.
Nothing I'm aware of.
They haven't reported completion. I know they've been out there working and so forth. I'm not sure if they're done with that.
I just know driving through that intersection, it doesn't look like anything going on, so other than...
Yeah, they had a slew of equipment out there. Now there's just maybe 1 or 2 pieces of equipment. And it looked like they were doing a lot of directional boring. I think they're going under the street doing what they're doing and so forth then. So it might be taking a little more time.
Okay.
Hopefully, it might be the heat slowing these guys down a little bit too. I have no idea, so.
How about the speed bumps on Joalis? How's that going?
I've secured a source to borrow a traffic and speed counting device. So I've got the accident information from the police department, reviewed that as far as the statistical analysis goes, but we need to find out the vehicle counts, the times, and the speeds, so we can determine the 85 percentile speed, if there's any sight distance stopping issues, and then go from there.
right,
So
thank you.
Once we put up the traffic counter equipment, it'll be up there for a week or 2 in order to get that statistic, and then it should be done in short order.
Thanks.
All right. Trustees, any presentations, petitions, or communications? Would you like to remove any items from the consent agenda?
Mayor Ryan, I'm sorry. Trustee Zelinski, could you give me the dates for those 3 block parties so I can have them accurately reflected in the record? The 3642 Bank
36.
Drive,
That one will be on Saturday, August 4th, 2018.
8-4, okay, and 4352 West 118th?
That one is also August 4th.
And the last one is 11554 Colmar.
Modify the language on that.
That'll be Saturday, August 18th.
Thank you, I'm sorry if you said that earlier, I missed it.
No, I didn't.
Thank you, Mayor Ryan.
I'd like to remove item L for an individual vote and/or discussion.
Okay, any other?
I'm sorry.
Any other items anyone wish to take from the agenda?
You did.
None? All right, thank you.
Motion to establish the consent agenda?
Second.
Roll call number 1 to establish the consent agenda. The only item that has been removed is letter L. Trustee McGreal is absent. Trustee Dalzell?
Yes.
Trustee Pierce?
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski?
Yes.
Trustee Juarez?
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin?
Yes.
Motion carries to establish the consent agenda.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call number 2 to approve the consent agenda as presented. Letter A will be known, approval of an ordinance amending Chapter 13 miscellaneous provisions and offenses, Article 3 vegetation control of the Municipal Code of the Village of Alsip will be ordinance number 2018-07-01. Letter B, approval of a notice of public nuisance pursuant to Section 13-50 of the Village of Alsip Municipal Code will be known as ordinance number 2018-07-02. Letter D, approval of a list of payroll dated June 22nd, 2018 totaling $383,759.07. Letter E, approval of a list of accounts payable dated July 2nd, 2018, totaling $454,711.95. Letter H, approval of an ordinance of the Village of Alsip authorizing the donation of surplus personal property to the Village of Dalton will be ordinance number 2018-07-03. Letter I has 3 additional block party permits. One will be held at 3642 Bank Drive from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. on August 4th, 2018. An additional one will be 4352 West 118th Street from 8 a.m. to midnight with a DJ ending at 10 p.m. on August 4th, 2018. And 11554 Colmar from noon to 10 p.m. on August 18th, 2018. Again, roll call number 2 to approve the consent agenda as presented. Trustee McGreal is absent. Trustee Dalzell?
Yes.
Trustee Pierce?
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski?
Yes.
Trustee Juarez?
Yes.
Trustee McLaughlin?
Yes.
Motion carries to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Returning back to an item that was removed, letter L, what we have on the consent agenda is approval to have the simplified municipal telecommunication tax increase by 3%, compliant with the Illinois Department of Revenue Telecommunication Tax Act 35 ILCS 636/5-1. The attorney just reminded me he does have an ordinance here with, does he actually need an ordinance to go along with this as well, too? Mike, did you want to speak?
Yeah, it's just the same ordinance I prepared it for the last meeting. All I did was change the date of passage.
Can I ask a procedure question?
Certainly.
Does this not require, since it had a motion a second and lost 5-1, does it require a motion to reconsider or renew?
Well, that is a good, motions to reconsider are very confusing and murky because you have a duty as a body to revisit all sorts of things in conjunction with your duties. And mostly if you look at Robert's Rules of Order, it kind of contemplates the motion to reconsider at the same
Meeting.
legislative session.
Yep.
For you, that would be a meeting, like for the state, that would be, over the whole time. But of course, your code talks about you could be and a lot of times it's things that are adopted as opposed to things that are voted down.
Mm-hmm.
But your code says a vote or question may be reconsidered any time during the same meeting or at the first regular meeting held thereafter. I really think that kind of speaks to when the mayor vetoes something and it's supposed to be up on automatically on the agenda for the next meeting. I mean, if you
Well, this would be our next meeting, so that would,
yeah, well, no,
it would
so
fly.
if you want to
Okay.
be safe
Yeah.
and you want to pass it, I guess it has to be the motion to adopt it has to be by someone who voted on the prevailing side, which was voted against it, and then seconded by someone who voted against it.
Okay,
Does that
understood.
make, is that, that's as clear as I can make it.
That's what I thought it was.
I'll be
Okay.
honest with you.
Okay.
So we do have an ordinance available to this, although we have to just modify it. That's what you're saying?
Whoever wants to,
Commissioner
someone
Finn?
wants to, you can read the ordinance title if someone wants to make the motion.
I'll make the motion.
You want to read the ordinance, just so people understand what you're voting on.
I'm sorry, trustee, do you have a question, too?
Well, I was wondering, I think the question was asked a week ago or whatever, what is the reason for the income from that going down on a yearly basis?
And we discussed that in the prior meeting. The way that they've packaged phone service now is moving more towards the data side on
Right, so
cell
there's
phones.
no way to stop this from actually continuing to go down even if we increase the tax.
I would think at a certain point they've kind of done all they can, but,
But it has never
right now
stopped
it's
so far.
has not stopped so far. So I until I see a trend change, I'm going to continue projecting at that trend rate.
Is the state still, again, according to the Simplified Telecommunication Act, the state still captures 7% regardless, and then the municipalities can't go over 6%. Right now, we're at 3%, and that's been at that number since its inception in 2003.
But and going back to your question, it's not just on the cell phone side that has seen that decline. It's also been on the landline as people have moved more towards the cable company providing that landline and less towards an AT&T. And so it's on both sides of the equation that it's happening.
It's still in the best interest if, like, the Illinois Department of Revenue, who monitors this yet, too, to look out for their interest in this whole thing at the same time.
But if it's a cable company and they're replacing the landline with, in essence, a voice over IP, there's a telephone number associated to that.
That's correct, but the way that they're packaging their deals, they're making it's the same with the cell phone. And they're doing more on data. The cable company's doing it more towards cable with the phone line, sort of a smaller portion of it. So they're dividing their packaged deals so that they're avoiding the taxes, essentially, is what it's coming down to. So it's happening on both the landline side and the cell phone side. And you guys asking the question forced me to ask it of the treasurers. I stumped a lot of them, and we kind of had to collectively go in and try to figure out, because the story that we had all been told fit the data, and it was the wrong story. So you guys asked a good question.
So I would ask them for a motion and a second if we wish to pursue that.
Should I read this whole thing?
Yeah, just the title.
Just the title page. Just an ordinance amending Chapter 18 Taxation, Article 8, Simplified Municipal Telecommunications Tax, Section 18-132, Simplified Municipal Telecommunications Tax imposed of the Municipal Code of the Village of Alsip. Discussion, real quick. I just want to say that I voted no initially on this because I felt that it was just going after people with landlines and businesses. I'm going to make this motion and vote yes tonight because if it is on cell phones, I feel like it's a fair tax. It's taxing everyone. It's not going after just the vulnerable, the senior citizens and the businesses in town.
Understood.
I'll make the motion.
Unless those cell phones are packaged as a data plan.
And I have a feeling that, as taxing bodies see that number continue to decline, they will find a way to unwind that and get that tax back. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Trustee Pierce, could you pass that back this way, please? Roll call number 3 to approve letter L, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 18 Taxation, Article 8, Simplified Municipal Telecommunications Tax, Section 18-132, Simplified Municipal Telecommunications Tax imposed of the Municipal Code of the Village of Alsip. Trustee McGreal is absent. Trustee Dalzell.
Yes.
Trustee Pierce.
Yes.
Trustee Zelinski.
No.
Trustee Juarez.
No.
Trustee McLaughlin.
No.
Vote is 3-2, so motion fails.
Right, you need three no's, correct?
3 noes.
Right, yes.
The mayor can vote
Well,
to,
he
Make a tie.
You need a majority
majority
of the,
quorum.
You needed 4 yeses.
yeah, you need 4 yeses,
Cook
including the
County,
mayor,
you
to
vote
adopt an
twice.
ordinance.
Any unfinished business? Any new business? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us this evening. Meeting's been adjourned then at 8:29.